is afraid of the big bad wolf? An animated Dogman story. Dear Scary Stories, I am a 25-year-old female, and I have a Dogman story I would like for you to read. It's a true story, but it started with this recurring dream I kept having. I was alone in the forest, and although I knew exactly what place I was in, it looked strange, and nothing seemed as though it were normal. I also felt kind of like someone was there, although I didn't notice anyone else. When I turned to my left, though, there was a huge wolf standing there, and yet he wasn't a wolf at all, but some kind of a man. He just stood there, staring at me, which I found terrifying. Yet he didn't attack me. He seemed to be trying to tell me something. That's the part where I would become too uncomfortable to remain in the dream anymore. I'd wake up each time feeling like a small child, tiny, alone, and defenseless, in a giant, feral, and unfriendly world. When I wake up from a nightmare, I always comb my hair, then put it up in a bun, the way a lady is supposed to, or an adult at least. I figure if I look like a grown-up, then my childish nightmares will fade. The daylight has come. No more time for fantasies of impossible creatures like werewolves. I had far more realistic monsters in my life. At the age of 25, I had already failed as an adult and was currently listing my employment as has-been. Nobody feels sorry for me, as I had married rich, and they still hate me for it. The fact that I failed as the far younger trophy wife of a wealthy man got me no sympathy, just contempt for having blown my chance. Look at me in this portrait that my husband, my ex-husband, had painted of me. I look confused in those clothes and in that lifestyle. Look at the ridiculously ornate frame he put it in. Now, that painting, this rundown cabin, and a few broken kitsch items on the fireplace mantel are all that's left from me from that marriage. Somehow, even though we had lived as a married couple for over 5 months, his mother managed to get it annulled. And that's a good word for me. Annulled. Even when I was with him, I never really was. He'd bring me to parties and leave me there. I don't know where he went then, just as I don't know where he's gone now. When I think back on it, I was just as alone back then as I am now. But on the outside, I seemed successful and happy to others. Now everyone can see that I've crashed and burned. When I'm stressed and confused, I take a shower. Today, I'm taking a very long shower. There's that sound again. Okay, am I hearing it? Or am I imagining it? I better go out and look. Why, there's a dog out there. It's a dog outside the glass doors. Or is that a coyote? Or a wolf? Why is it staring at me like that? Does it want to kill and eat me? I hope it can't break in. I don't know how I could even begin to defend myself against an animal as big as that one. And what if it has rabies or something? Maybe that dog I saw before was just hungry. Maybe it was just looking to come in from the rain. Maybe its normal shelter got flooded. It has been pouring outside for days on end. I should probably listen to the weather report, but whatever. I'm not sure why I got so frightened of that dog. Maybe I should have let it in. I mean, what if it drowns now because of me? That would suck, wouldn't it? Still, I don't understand why I have such a strong feeling that I'm being watched. I used to live life, but now I sit and read books about other people's lives instead. Romance novels mostly. Sometimes self-help books. But when they start to tell me to stop feeling sorry for myself and get off my butt, then I go back to romance. Did you hear that? I've been hearing that sound off and on for almost 20 minutes now. I could swear there's someone out there, messing around, or spying on me. Maybe it's that dog come back, looking for food. If I had anyone else here with me, I'd probably just ignore it. But something about being alone in the cabin here in the woods makes me feel paranoid on dark, rainy nights. Better to go have a look than to sit and worry about it. I really can't tell if I'm seeing something out there or not. I'm gonna go put on my riding hood and go look out there. It's weird how it feels so much like my dream. I feel like if I go out there, something is gonna happen to me. Wow, it's kind of a spooky rainy night. I don't see anyone out there, but that doesn't mean that nobody's there. I feel almost like one of those people who say that Bigfoot stares at their cabin while hiding behind trees. It genuinely feels like I have multiple sets of eyes on me right now. I could swear that I saw something go into that old stable that I've never used. I thought I saw a shadow of something as big as a horse, but there hasn't been a horse in that stable for at least 5 years, before my husband bought the place from me. No, I don't see anyone or anything inside. I guess I might have imagined it. I sort of wish I had another person out here with me, so I could tell how much of what I'm seeing is really there. Is any of this my imagination creating scenarios because I've been alone for too long? I started back toward the cabin, but some river or something must have breached its banks because that place was now flooded. I should say it was flooding, as the water was still pouring in and getting higher as I looked through the window. Now I had nothing at all left in this world, not even a place to feel sorry for myself. I would have slumped to the ground and wept, but the water level was rising, and the cold flow around my legs was chilling me to the bone. I was never more afraid than in that moment. But when I turned, I saw a creature not too different from the one in my recurring dream. It was a dog, but it was a man too, and it was standing and waiting for me on a little rock, barely still sticking above the waterline. For some reason, I wasn't scared. Instead, I felt a sense of relief. This was the only familiar-looking thing in my life. This dog-headed man was the man of my dreams in a literal sense. This meant to me that those dreams had meaning. And if my dreams had meaning, then my life must have meaning too. I took the craziest leap of faith in my life, and I traveled with that big dog man through the flooded woods, heading further and further away from the direction I knew civilization was in. I was following a strange wild animal deeper into the woods during a natural disaster, which was the least logical thing that I could be doing. But when we arrived at a little home in the woods, high and dry on a little hill of its own, I was relieved to read the sign out front informing me that this was in fact a ranger station for a park ranger. I was saved. I turned to thank the dogman, but he was already loping away on all fours. Apparently he had other people to save. But I soon learned that the dogman had left me in good hands. The ranger in that station is a handsome fellow that you can call Ranger Manley. Lord knows I do. It turns out he didn't doubt me for 1 minute when I told him about the big gray dogman leading me to his home. In fact, he told me a lot of stories about those creatures. He has a great deal of respect for them. Our brave Ranger Manley calls them people, not animals. We both took it as a sign that the dogman decided we should be together. And I feel like the luckiest person in the entire world. I would never have been this happy if I hadn't lost everything first. I could never have appreciated my ranger friend if I hadn't had such an unhappy time before meeting him. But most of all, the two of us wouldn't have been able to be so happy together if it were not for the North American upright walking canid, aka the Dogman. cooler than a drink of sarsaparilla. He's the Tim named after Godzilla. We wouldn't be able to present new episodes to you right now if it were not for the man so big on the inside that they nicknamed him after a giant on the outside. I'm talking, of course, about the magnificent Godzilla Tim Walker in Ireland. Godzilla Tim funded the animation you just watched and kept me eating bananas and blueberries the entire time. Everyone knows that Bigfoot loved blueberries, but since bananas don't grow wild up in North America, very few people know that we love them too. Godzilla Tim knows though, and so he financed my banana feast in order to bring you the show that you just watched today. Please thank this giant of a man, because without him, there would have been no new story this day. If you want to join the great Godzilla Tim and help us stay online with new episodes, then just listen to what this next little guy has to say. Hank? Thanks, Biggie, and thanks to all of you for watching this far. If you liked it, please click like. If you'd like to see more of our work, please subscribe. And also click that bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we put out a new episode. To become an executive producer, you can donate to us through the thanks button under each of our videos or through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page. To receive cool perks like secret uncensored Dogman episodes far too wild to ever run on this channel, you can become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button, or join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Joining either at the $3 a month level or above gets you access to our over 25 hours of secret uncensored Dogman stories available nowhere else. Do you have a scary story about Dogman or some other kind of high strangeness that happened to you? Let us know by emailing us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or by leaving us a voicemail message at 804-LA-SCARY. You may need to call back on that one. It cuts off after, I think, 3 minutes. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, thank you for simply watching to the end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.
Come back for more scary stories.